how the monitor is implemented and how to use it. I don't have so much big environment here, but we can see some things. First, you search for monitor. Just search for monitor and you see here the monitor. This is the main view of the Azure Monitor. All right. So from here you have the insights and you have like insights with your applications, VMs inside. So you can see here what kind of insights you have. You can monitor the performance and the health of the virtual machines. You have a video here that you can like in 3 minutes and 38 seconds you can see it. You have the onboarding. You have how to onboard your VMs to use these insights and documentations. All right. If you click to view your VM insights, you see that the first thing you need to do to get started is enable VM insights. So when you click here to configure insights, you will see that we have two VMs. Those two VMs, they are not monitored. We cannot enable right now because the VM is not running. So first question in the exam, you are trying to activate the insights in your VM and it's not possible. What could be the reason? First, cannot be enabled if the VM is not running. So let's go back and put those VMs to run. So let's select both of them, give start button, and we'll start both those VMs. We can get this. We can come here again later to see. Once again, we have how to analyze data. So analyze the health performance for a single or multiple VMs. So if you go to analyze data, you can see the performance here in charts. So if we go to the VM itself, we have the same situation here, but we can see the metrics explorer. Do you remember the metrics explorer? This is the first way that you can analyze your metrics. So for each Azure resource, you have the Azure Monitor with the main screen of the monitoring, but for each one of those, you have monitoring. We have a special section for monitoring. So the first thing you have insights. After that, alerts. And here we have the metrics explorer. So let's see the insights. If we can configure this right now, you can configure here. So you need to enable, now that the VM is up and running, you can enable those insights. When you enable this, you need to configure how to enable these insights. This will collect some data. So as you can see here, we have the new one, Azure Monitor Agent will be installed in this VM. That's why we don't have the metrics configured right now, because we don't have this installed. We have this as an extension. If you can install in the same moment that you create the VM, you can choose to use the Azure Monitor, and we will send this to a log analytics workspace, which is being created right now. That is because we need to have a data collection rule. In this data collection rule, if you see here, we will select or create a new one to specify what data to collect and where data should be sent. Okay, so you can modify this later. Okay, so everything will be sent to a workspace, which is our repository. So we will configure this right now, and we are initializing the deployment of the resource. This is a VM in Azure. If you are running a VM outside Azure, you need to download the agent and install the agent. When you install the agent will ask for the workspace ID and keys. So for your log analytics workspaces, you have this data. You just put there and establish this trust relation. You don't need a VPN to transfer this data. Okay, from your own premises to Azure. This is not a hybrid configuration that needs a VPN to send this data. Okay, so yes, this is first part of the VM. I am concentrating here in the VMs because normally virtual machines, they are the first thing that customers start using in Azure. Okay, but we can see more things if we have time. Metrics. So this is the Metrics Explorer. The metrics, I don't need it to configure a thing. So I can see here that I have, for example, the CPU, let me see here, percentage CPU. So you can monitor, and this is the Metrics Explorer. However, tricky question during the exam. This is the host metric, not the guest OS metric, okay? Which is, this is not specifically for your VM. This is for the host where your VM is on. If you want to go to the guest, you need to do configure the insights that we have done before. It's doing, and now you can have the guest OS data. Okay. So metrics, you can have this type of metrics, and let me follow with the explanation. With the percentage CPU, for example, and now you can go here and do what? Save to a dashboard. You can create a new alert rule based on this. You can change the chart, or you can drill into logs. Okay. So if you go here and save to the dashboard, you can pin to a dashboard. You can choose or create a new dashboard. This dashboard is going to be AZ104 dashboard. I will create and pin. So I can come to this dashboard. This is my new dashboard with this percentage CPU from this specific VM. I can configure this, the auto refresh every 5 minutes, for example. I can put this full screen, and I can have um, multiple charts or multiple information about a specific application. All right, we can have this very complex dashboards. If you go here and put Azure dashboards, you will see that we can have very complex ones. As you can see here, we can put these labels to make things very organized. You can bring the static content like resource groups. You can see here the HTTP responses. You can see here the application map. So all the insights that you have from your application, all the dependencies, the latency, the availability, right? So which browsers are using your customers, the processes, so everything you have here from your databases. So this is just an example. All right. Okay. After that, what else we need to do? So let's say that you want to configure and use custom query language for your VM. So you want to use this option right here, logs. To use this option right here, you see, welcome to Log Analytics. So the Log Analytics is that.
Welcome to Azure Monitor Log Analytics. In this video, we'll introduce Log Analytics and show you how to easily get instant insights from your logs. This demo assumes you already onboarded to logs and that data is being sent to Log Analytics.
Oh, this video is assuming that you have onboarding things to the Log Analytics, but I have not. So I will just pause this video right now. You can see this later. That's why I love this portal. You can go there and have videos, documents, interaction. So it's quite nice. And to onboard things, you know that we need to set up diagnostic settings. Okay, so you go to diagnostic settings, and you need to set up from this VM. You need to install the diagnostics extensions. Okay, so you can set up a storage account to send it, and after that you can choose the how can you interact with this logs and metrics. in the gas level. All right. But not to talk just about VMs. Let's talk about something about networking, for example. I have here a load balancer. Okay. So how to monitor a networking device? Well, we have two options. A monitor, if you can see here, we have insights separated by workload. You see? And one of those is networks. So you have a special um, configuration just for networks. And here is the networks insights is the same thing. So just click in networks and you will see all the network device or the network services that you are using in Azure. Okay, you can see this for all your subscriptions, or you can separate by subscriptions. You can separate by resource groups. So use the filters. It's um, quite useful. Okay, so for example, I have here a load balancer. This load balancer is the same one that we had in the other screen. I can go to the load balancer, or I can have a list of my load balancers right here. If I click in one of those, I can see, for example, the topology of my load balancer. So how many rules I have, how many backends I have, how many front ends I have. So I can see here in my backend, I can see details of my backend and I can go direct to the backend. I can close this again and I can see some details here again, or I can just see my front ends as well, which front ends I have, which rules I have, so I can have here summary about what my load balancer is doing. It's the same for other resources. If I click here in the metrics, so as you can see, it's totally different metrics than a VM. It's because it's a totally different resource, right? And so for the load balancer, I have here an overview, the data throughput. Of course, this load balancer is not have been in use right now, but that's why we don't have so much data. But we can have the data throughput. We have the front end and back end availability. How is that, right? We don't have configured right now. I'm sorry about it. We have the front end and back end availability here in detail. So how much data it's coming in, and the health probes. Do you remember what health probe is, right? It's when I'm polling my instances in a backend pool and see if everything is all right. So you can see here in the metrics. So you can see the health probe status by backend IP address or by backend port. So you can check what is the problem and troubleshoot this. I'm having some problems with some port, or I'm having some problem with some IP addresses. Okay. So here is the backend. Here's the front end. You have also the data throughput again. So how can you see the data throughput per front end? You can analyze the flow distribution, so you can see how many how many requests are being responded by each resource in your backend pools. And you can see if everything is wrong because one VM is responding too much requests, and you can make the rules better, okay, for that. And we have here, let me see if we have more things here. No, we are okay. Just to see the load balancer, you can go directly to the load balancer right here. So this is the 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 resource itself, and you have the same thing here in the monitoring part of this resource as well. So you have same thing, the insights from this particular um, um, load balancer, the diagnostic settings that you can set up. As I told you, you can set up the diagnostic settings based on the metrics. We don't have logs here for these specific resource, so all metrics, and you can send to a log analytics workspace, to a storage account, to an event hub, or partner solution. We have seen this during the Chalk Talk, right? What else? Let's go to the monitor again. I'm not asking questions just because I want to demonstrate most of the things in just 20 minutes. Okay, so you can And please bring your questions to the channel. Okay? Bring your questions to the monitoring team's channel. All right? Let's talk about alerts. So what I need to do to set up a alert. Let's use our VM, for example. Let's go to our VM, and we were saying that we can come here to metrics, and you can set up a metric like a CPU percentage. That's the VM that when we have a legacy application, you see that normally this is doing well, but sometimes it's increasing that much the the percentage CPU, and we need to restart the VM or we need to open a ticket. So how to set up an alert for this specific application? So go to the new rule alert from here. You need to specify now the signal name is percentage CPU. You can see the all signals that you can have for a VM. So here you can see the signals that you have for the VM, right? You have some things about log search. So we need log analytics, and we are executing a query, which is a deep analysis or a simple analysis with metrics. It's a numerical, how do I say this? Value, all right? And we can see, for example, data disk write operations, data disk write bytes. I can have network, I can have OS, disk target IOPS, I can have VM availability, a lot of things. And also I have from the activity log, look at that. I have some events that I want to set up in a alert. For example, when something, um, let me see, delete a VM, this could be critical. So sometimes if some people delete any VM or this VM specifically that we are seeing here, we will receive an alert. We don't need to go to investigate. So we are bringing this from the activity log. The activity log is handled by Azure Resource Manager. So everything that happens in my subscription, the Azure Resource Manager uses the activity log as a notebook and take notes of everything. Okay, so let's do this. Percentage CPU, average greater than, we said 80%, check every 30 minutes. And look back period, we are put like 1 hour. So this is gonna give us the exactly this scenario. We will be checking the CPU usage based on the 1 hour, um, 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 how do I say this? Based on the amount of data that we have from the last hour. For every 30 minutes, I will check the past hour and I will see the average. Okay, I can put, for example, here, check every 15 minutes. So I will have 4 values from the past hour, and I will do the average of those data, and I will see if this data, if this percentage CPU is greater than 80%, I will do something, okay? Which is my actions. As you know, my actions, they are defined by action groups. So I will create a new action group. We are right on top of the hour. I will just finish this. All right. So I will put the action group name. So I put VM Brazil as the action group name. Set up the notifications. What type of notifications I want? Email, text, voice, or push in the Azure app. I don't know if you know, but we have Azure app for iOS and Android, and you can install it and you can receive push notifications. You can start VMs, stop VMs. You can connect to the RDP using your cell phone. Okay, or use the role. Let's say that I want to use a role. The role is going to be monitoring reader. So for all the people with the monitoring reader role, we will send something. So the name is monitoring reader. We will receive a message. All right. And after that, I want to have SMS. So I'll put here the number. So I put here my Costa Rica, we don't have, but we do have Brazil. And I can put my number. It's not my number, but anyway, I put any number here. I can send this notification to the Azure mobile app, or I can receive for just for those countries. This is new. Just normally it's just for US, but now we have also to Brazil voice of a voice message. Right. So let's put here. I will do OK. Good. Name. I will put this like text and voice. All right. Now I will take actions. Action type, as you can see, automation runbooks. I can execute an Azure function. I can send to an event hub. I can open a ticket with ITSM. I can set up a logic app, or I can use webhooks. So let's put Azure Automation Runbook. If I put Azure Automation Runbook, you see here that I can use a built-in runbook. This is the scripts, okay? Or user ones. So I can use a built-in one, and this one's going to be restart VM. Okay. To complete this action, I need a automation account. The automation account, it will create a security principal, an identity to execute things on behalf of the administrator in this resource. For example, to restart a VM, I need to have the authorization to do that, role-based access control. Okay, and the automation account will give me this option. So I need to create an automation account or use one automation account that I have. So this is will create an automation account right now because I don't have, and we'll use this automation account. And this exactly moment I cannot create because I'm using the the Microsoft subscription, but you understand the idea. All right, that's it. Let's say that I want to proceed. I will not take any actions right now, just the notifications. Okay, so review and create. We are creating the action group, and we are setting the notifications and actions. After that, we can put the details of our alert. So I have the severity for my alert. Let's say this is a warning. I can put the alert rule. So restart VM Brazil. Okay. And we can review and create and create. So now every time my VM reach 8% CPU, I will receive an alert and a notification. Okay, both. Got it? All right.